So good morning, everybody. My name is Jenny Kroger, and I'm the Communications Director for the FSU College of Education. I want to thank you all for joining us today to learn more about our graduate programs in sport management here at FSU. Before I hand things over to our presenters today, I just want to do a little housekeeping. We're going to start with a brief presentation about our program offerings, admission requirements, career opportunities, things like that. So we ask that you please leave your microphone on mute during this time. But if you do have a question, we encourage you to post it in the chat. And if you haven't done so yet, please turn off your video just in case we encounter some bandwidth problems. But I think that covers everything. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce our presenters today. First, we have Mr. Jeff Ho, who's the Academic Program Specialist for the department, and he handles all the admissions. And then we also have Dr. Josh Newman, the Associate Chair and Professor in the Department of Sport Management. And then joining us a little bit later will be Dr. Jeff James, Professor and Chair in the department. So, welcome.
All right, thank you so much, Jenny. Welcome, everybody. Thanks so much for being with us this morning. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here so we can show you a quick little PowerPoint presentation. Okay, I've done that correctly. Hopefully everyone can see the PowerPoint right now. Welcome to our graduate programs preview for the Sport Management Department. By way of introduction, my name is Jeff Ho. As Jenny said, I am the advisor for the master's program. I'm also the academic program specialist for the department. So most students, most graduate students who come through this department will interact with me in some way while they're here, primarily through the admissions process. So I'll also be the person, your contact person, when you apply to the program all the way through admission. As Jenny said, joining us later today will be our department chair, Dr. Jeffrey James. He's actually teaching a class right now, so when his class finishes up, he'll be joining us. And with us right now is Dr. Joshua Newman. Dr. Newman is associate department chair and also directs the doctoral program. So if any of you have questions about the doctoral program, interested in that either immediately or sometime in the future, I'll give you the person to talk to there. Just by way of kind of getting a sense of who you all are, and I think the best way to do this might be to either raise your hand or type in the chat what your interests are. If you are particularly interested in the doctoral program, just so we know that we need to cover some things there. Is anybody with us today interested specifically in the doctoral program, or interested perhaps in the future in the doctoral program? I don't know that I can see what's going on here, but someone can keep an eye out for anyone raising their hand or what's going on in the chat there. And let me know if there is anybody.
Seem like they're all master's students, Jeff.
Great. Okay. Well, that's good because that's what I'm going to be focusing on for the most part. So one of the questions that you're probably asking yourself, or you've begun to explore anyway, while you start your thinking about graduate school, is why study sport management? What does a career in sport management look like? What are the advantages to this particular field? And I will say that the sport industry is vast and diverse. It is rapidly expanding. So jobs exist in the sport industry today that did not exist, were unthinkable 5 or 10 years ago. The sport industry has been very good at adapting to change in the way people participate in sports, and change in the way people consume sports. And alongside that, the management side of the sport industry has also changed alongside that. So it is rapidly expanding. It's resilient. One of the things that I think we've realized very recently with the COVID pandemic, as much as industries across the board have been hurting, the sport industry is one that has been a high priority to bounce back and get back to as close to normal as we can, and to adapt to the current situation to make sure that sports are available. Not only professional sports to consume and collegiate sports for people to watch, but also participatory sports and youth sports. All those things have been very resilient throughout this particular situation that we're in right now. Sport industry is diverse. It attracts all kinds of people and in all kinds of jobs, all kinds of positions. Just about anything that you are passionate about or an expert in or particularly good or skilled at, you can apply to the sport industry. It employs people across the board, from from facility management to marketing to sales to participants to coaches. There are a ton of jobs out there for all kinds of people. Bottom line is sport is for everyone and sport management is for everyone. The sport industry is highly competitive. No pun intended, we know the athletes are competitive, but the field itself is very competitive and getting more competitive. It is becoming the norm for people who work in the sport industry to have degrees, not only bachelor's degrees, but also master's higher education degrees as well in their particular field and be very highly trained and highly skilled people. And so one of the things that our graduate degree aims to do is make you competitive in a field that is becoming more and more competitive. So why go to graduate school? The graduate degree in sport management provides you several opportunities. One is to be able to refine your skills beyond what you may have acquired at the undergraduate level, to examine new trends in the sport in an academic way where you just don't have the luxury to do that when you're out in the field trying to work. You can kind of see how the sport world is changing and how various organizations are adapting to that, what the best practices out there are. These are things that you can do very neatly and nicely in a graduate school setting that you really just don't have the luxury to do, as I said, when you're out working. So it's a good opportunity to sort of take a step back and do that and hopefully re-enter the workforce or enter the workforce for the first time a little bit better equipped to handle the changing situation. An opportunity to intern with top organizations, particularly here at Florida State University, here on campus or around the country. The internship, particularly in the master's program, is a big part of what we do and why our students are so successful when they ultimately leave here. Gives you an opportunity to explore a variety of career paths and network with industry professionals to figure out what kind of jobs might be out there for you. Things that you maybe weren't aware of before or didn't quite know how to break into. Breaking into the sport industry can be difficult. And so we provide a lot of networking opportunities, which we'll talk about later on this morning. What are the advantages of studying here at Florida State? As you may know, the FSU Sport Management Graduate Program is consistently ranked among the top programs in the nation. In recent years, our master's program has been ranked #1 in the country. The doctoral program has also been ranked among the top pretty consistently. And there are a couple of reasons for that. The few reasons that I like to cite, #1 is our world-class faculty, which I will go through and introduce you to in just a moment. But these are experts in their field, leaders in their field. They are widely respected around the country and even around the world. I have applicants talk to me from all over the world who mentioned that they found out about Florida State because they were studying something that one of our professors had done, or they were citing a paper that one of our professors had published. These are truly leaders in the field. And one of the great things about our faculty here is that you really do get to know them while you're here studying. This is not a program that's so big that you're going to feel like a number and you never really get to know your professors. You will know your professors and they will know you by the time you graduate here. It'll be an excellent resource for you. The internships we talked about, meaningful, not only internship opportunities and good opportunities to work with top organizations, but to make sure that those opportunities and internships are meaningful, educationally valid for you. We have an internship coordinator on faculty with us, Dr. Jason Pappas, whose primary concern is making sure that the experiences that you have, both here on campus and off campus, are not only going to help you build a great resume to help you get your job, but also will help enhance your education. You're not just, cleaning equipment and making coffee for the coaches and things like that, but you're actually doing things that are going to enhance your education and make you better at what you do. And of course, we have a very robust alumni network. We have graduates of our program working almost in every area of the country, in every state in the nation, and even around the world. I'll tell you, it is very difficult to walk into a market and not find somebody who has been through Florida State University. And that's a great advantage to people who are here and who have graduated from our program, not only because they have those people to reach out to, but because when you go into a market to try to find a job, your reputation really precedes you. Not just the name of Florida State University, but the fact that they've most likely interacted with somebody or known somebody who was a graduate of our program and has seen the quality work that they do. And so you're walking into these situations and they know you're going to do great work for them too. They know you've been well trained and well prepared for the workforce. Here at Florida State University, we offer 3 levels of sport management. The undergraduate program, which is approximately 400 students. It's a 2-year program, a junior, senior year program. And then at the master's level, that is designed to be a 1 to 2 year program. There are approximately 120 students involved in the master's program at any given time. I think we're actually a little bit above that right now. We had a really nice, large incoming class this past fall. So we're a little above that number, but we're accommodating them quite well. And we're excited for the quality of those students and the size of that class. The program is designed to be 1 to 2 years. Most of our students, I'd say about half of our students do it in 1 year, and most of the rest do it in 2 years. It is also possible to take longer than that if you want to. You can go to school very part-time here. There is no particular minimum enrollment that we have for the master's program. I think you have 7 years to complete the degree. So if you just took a course or 2 every semester, you would make it through that. And that's designed for people who are maybe working full-time or work here at Florida State University and just want to earn their degree while not leaving their current position. Then, of course, there's the doctoral program. Our doctoral program has about 20 students involved in it at any given time. It is a 3 to 4 year program designed to be 2 years of coursework and then 1 year to 2 years of dissertation. Again, Dr. Newman is the most knowledgeable person about that. So if anyone has questions about the doc program, he'd be the best person to talk to. And I've included on here the coaching certificate. I know that there's a separate session to cover that later, but I wanted to mention it here because it is something that you can easily combine with our master's degree in sport management, and many of our students choose to do that. It's not technically our program. It is a college of education program. There is some overlap. So there are a few classes that are sport management classes that are also counted toward the coaching certificate, but there are other courses that are not. So if you're interested in doing that, make sure you attend the session for the FSU coach certificate later on this week as well. Brief introduction to our core faculty here. As I mentioned before, Dr. Jeffrey James will be joining us later. He's the department chair. He is a sport marketing specialist and teaches courses in sport marketing, as well as our sport sponsorship and sales class for the master's program, and he oversees our comprehensive exam, which we'll talk about in a little bit as well. Dr. Joshua Newman is the associate chair and director of the doctoral program. He's a sport media and culture studies specialist. He teaches a number of courses for us, mostly at the doctoral and undergraduate level, but you will sometimes interact with him at the master's level as well. Dr. James Dew, another sport marketing professor. He also covers courses in sport analytics as well as applied statistics and sport management. 2 very quickly growing areas of the sport management field. Dr. Katie Flanagan is our service learning coordinator and also teaches a handful of courses for us at the undergraduate and master's level. The master's degree specifically does include a service learning component to it. There are volunteer hours required both in sport and non-sport volunteer opportunities, and she's the person who oversees and coordinates all of that. Dr. Michael Jardina is on sabbatical this semester. He is also a sport media and culture studies. He teaches our sport in the media core class for the master's program, as well as some doctoral courses. He will be back beginning fall 2021. So if you're looking at applying or starting fall 2021 or later, then Dr. Jardina will be back for that. Dr. Amy Kim teaches our strategic management course as well as our research methods course, facility management course. She is sort of the point person for our thesis track for the master's program, the first person that you really interact with as you go and begin to explore that option, which we'll talk about in just a little bit too. But that's that research methods course that she teaches. Mr. Dennis Nobles teaches primarily our undergraduate courses. He is our undergraduate advisor as well. His background is in coaching. He was a track and field coach here at Florida State University for a long time, and he brings his coaching expertise to the department. Dr. Kylie Studer-O'Daniel is our most recent addition to the department. She teaches also a handful of courses for us at the graduate and undergraduate level. Most recently, beginning in the spring, she is actually launching a special topics course on Title IX. Dr. Jason Pappas is our practicum coordinator. He also teaches our professional development class, which is one of the core classes. He is the person who's responsible, as I said, for making sure that your internship opportunities, your experiential learning opportunities are educationally valid for you, are going to be good opportunities for you, and also are going to help you build a nice resume. He is also sort of the person who, he does a number of things for us. He oversees our Sport Management Student Association. He oversees the Sport Management Conference that we host every year, and we'll talk about both of those things later on. But he is also really, really good at networking. So he's going to be your sort of best resource for ways to network and find internships and also find jobs for the future. Dr. Ryan Rodenberg is our legal and policy issues sport law professor. He does teach the master's level sport law course as well as some doctoral courses as well. Dr. Han Shui is our sport governance professor and also teaches some doctoral courses in strategic management. As I mentioned before, there are two tracks to the master's program. The most common track is what we call our coursework track. We used to refer to this as the practicum track because it replaces essentially a thesis with a practicum and a comprehensive exam. So the coursework track is 36 credit hours. Again, that can be done in 1 year, 3 semesters. If you go 12, 12, and 12 hours per semester. It's essentially 4 classes per semester, which is very doable. The core requirements cover 18 to 27 hours, depending on how much practicum you choose to do. And then the remaining 9 to 18 hours would be elective credit. As I mentioned, the practicum is variable credit. I'll show you that in just a moment. And the comprehensive exam at the end of that is essentially a career portfolio that is designed to help you as you enter the job market to have something to sort of show potential employers what you've done here, what you've learned here, and what you're able to do. And as I mentioned, it can be completed in 1 year, and about half of our students do. Oops, let me go back. Okay, so this is the program of study for our coursework track. The core requirements are listed up top there. You can see core courses in strategic management, marketing, sport and the media, sport law, the professional development course. And then you see the practicum course there is variable credit, 3 to 12 credit hours. A 3 credit practicum would basically be working very part-time for 1 semester. 10 hours a week gets you the required number of hours for a 3 credit hour practicum. You can also go all the way up to 12 credit hours, which is essentially working full-time for an entire semester. The nice thing about that is if you spend two semesters here completing all of your coursework, and then you get a full-time job somewhere, you can go off and do that full-time job, register for 12 credit hours of practicum, and count that as your practicum hours to finish the degree. You can actually do a total of 15 experiential learning internship hours between the practicum and the field lab internship, which is down under the elective section there, which means that over 1/3 of your degree, if you want it to, can be done in internships and experiential learning. So it can really be as much or as little of the program as you want it to be. This is kind of the process of the coursework track, the practicum track here. It begins with your coursework. While you're completing your coursework, you're going to be completing volunteer opportunities as well as perhaps some field lab internships. You might start doing your practicum hours alongside your coursework, or you may wait until you're finished there. But ultimately, the practicum is designed to be your big capstone experience, which hopefully leads you to a job. And you can see underneath that, the career portfolio kind of runs through the entire process. So it's going to start with your coursework, the things that you are, I keep moving the screen, sorry about that. Things that you're studying in class, the skills that you're picking up, as well as the things that you're learning through your internships. And then again, that career portfolio ideally becomes something that you can show to employers and use it to get yourself a nice job. We also have our thesis track. We typically have a handful of master students, only a handful, completing the master track at any given time. By far, the coursework practicum track is the more popular one. It is really designed for students who are trying to get a job in the sport industry, and it poises you very well to do that. The thesis track, by contrast, is designed for students who maybe have a specific interest in research or are interested in pursuing doctoral studies in the future. It sets you up nicely for a doctoral application. It's not necessarily required by most doctoral programs to have done a master's thesis. Our doctoral program does not require that. But because of the nature of the program and the amount of writing and research that you do, it does help strengthen the application when you go to apply for doctoral programs. The thesis track is 34 credit hours. It is still, I would say, at minimum 3 semesters. The reality is that our thesis students usually spend a little bit longer than that, just because the thesis process can take a little longer than 1 semester. But it can also be completed in 1 year if you are ready to start writing right away. There are 25 core hours involved with the thesis track and 9 elective hours. And then, of course, the thesis and your thesis defense at the end. So that's what that program looks like here. You can see we've replaced a few of the courses. We've replaced the practicum, of course, with your thesis requirement. We've replaced that professional development course with a research methods course and a statistics course here that you'll need to take. You can, of course, also take the professional development course. It just becomes an elective. Likewise, if you were to take some of these thesis track courses and ultimately decide you don't want to pursue a thesis, they would become electives toward the internship track as well, and the coursework track. You don't need to decide right away if you're looking at this and thinking, a thesis sounds interesting, but I'm not sure I'm ready to jump in with both feet yet. The nice thing is you have a semester to explore that. Everybody begins in the coursework track by default, and if you are interested in pursuing a thesis, we encourage you to register in that research methods course with Dr. Kim. During that course, you'll identify a topic of research interest for you, you'll prepare an abstract, an outline for potentially what your thesis is going to be, you'll connect with faculty members who will advise you on your thesis, and then ultimately by the end of that semester, you'll be ready to propose your thesis topic. And once that's approved, then we will transfer you to the thesis track. Again, if you get to the end of that process and you decide, well, this was fun, but I don't think the thesis is for me, I think I want to stick with the coursework track, you haven't lost any time. Those credit hours simply go toward your elective credit for the coursework track. So as I mentioned, one of the great things, the great advantages that we offer here at Florida State are our strong internship opportunities. And a lot of that starts right here on campus. Many of our students will intern alongside their coursework, even starting with their very first semester with our programs at FSU Athletics. They work as assistant coaches, trainers, analysts. They work in marketing and sales, special events, recruiting, compliance, you name it. It is a huge, huge athletics program. I mean, Florida State is as big as it gets in collegiate athletics. And we rely on our graduate students to help make sure that things run smoothly there. And so there are lots and lots of opportunities for our students to get involved, and many of them will count for internship course credit. There are also opportunities here in town that are off campus, working with Tallahassee community, with the local school systems and scholastic sports, in Department of Recreation. So there are great opportunities here that, again, you can pursue while you are completing your coursework here in Tallahassee. And then, of course, we have true off-campus, way off-campus internships where you can literally do anywhere in the country. And we do have students every semester go across the country, and sometimes even out of the country, depending on the nature of their internship. But we've had students intern in recent years in just about every state, particularly in every major sport market in the country. And we have wonderful connections through Dr. Pappas, through our alumni, to help make sure that we're able to find those opportunities for you. And of course, after your internship, the idea is that the internship is going to springboard you into a fantastic career. And we have alumni working at every level of sports, professional down through youth sports, amateur, elite sports, community sports and recreation, and even sport adjacent industries like the entertainment industry and the apparel industry and things like that. So you can even apply the skills that you acquire here in our program to non-sport jobs as well. And they work in every area. Many of them are coaches, athletic directors, they work in facility management, they work with the media, they're analysts, they work in marketing and sales, development, fundraising, youth outreach, community outreach. Just to give you an idea, I think I can, yes. If you go to our website and you kind of scroll through all the information there, way down at the bottom, you're going to see a section about career opportunities. So if you click on that, read through this little blurb, there is in fact a tiny little link down here. And if you click on that, you'll see a listing of where some of our recent alumni are currently employed and the kinds of jobs that they have. So people working in sponsorships and sales, in academic advising, in client services. We have people working with the media, as I mentioned before, ticket sales. We have coaches, athletics directors, compliance officers. And if you scroll down even farther, you'll start to see people who are, again, working in those sport adjacent industries, such as, if you go far enough down here, so we've got somebody who works as a special events coordinator for Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Cafe. So not specifically sports, but it is special events, it is recreation, it is very much a related industry. We have somebody who's a coach with Cirque du Soleil, which is kind of an interesting offshoot of the sport industry there, kind of blurs the lines between the entertainment industry and the sport industry. So lots of people doing very interesting jobs, very fulfilling and challenging jobs. And I encourage you to scroll through that and see where our students are, where our former students are, and which of those career paths might align with your own goals. Some other advantages to our program here, great opportunities to sort of supplement your education. We have our international program, our global sport management program. This is a program that takes place every week, or every summer during the final 6 weeks of the summer session. And this occurs in Valencia, Spain, and London, England. There are 2 courses that you'll take while you're out there. They are taught by our professors, but you'll be on location again in Valencia and in London. Those 2 courses are International Issues in Sport Management and International Sport Venues. This is a program that's existed since 2002, and you can see we've offered it most years since then. Unfortunately, it did not exist this past summer due to the pandemic, but we are very optimistic that we'll be able to relaunch that for 2021. The nice thing about that is, let's say you graduate in the spring and you're looking for a way to get started, you can actually begin the program with the International Global Sport Program and start the program overseas, take advantage of everything we have to do over there, and then come back and finish your program here in Tallahassee. While students are over there taking their courses, they're also immersing themselves in the sport world in Europe, visiting major sporting events, volunteering, networking, where that's possible. They do a lot of travel, and you can see some of the pictures there from some of the events that they've visited while they were there. So it is a very enriching opportunity, even beyond the courses that you'll get to take there. We have several other professional development and networking opportunities that we offer here in Tallahassee. Our annual sport management conference is one of the big ones. It happens typically every fall. We're looking at rescheduling that, I think, in the spring this year, but usually it happens every fall. We bring in a number of guest speakers and panels, industry professionals, graduates of our program, leaders in the field, to try to bring the world of sport management to our students here and give them a sense of what's going on out in the real world. A big part of that is our networking fair, which is a great opportunity for our own students to meet with professionals one-on-one to talk about potential internship opportunities as well as job opportunities in the future. And we also have our Sport Management Student Association. This is a group of students that meets weekly. Again, they regularly have guest speakers come in and speak with them as well. They take advantage of many volunteer opportunities, not only here in town, but across the country. They travel to major sporting events. They've recently visited and volunteered at the Men's and Women's College World Series, the National Championship, Football National Championship. I think they were at the Super Bowl a few years ago. They have been to the men's and women's Final Four. So you get a chance to see what the sort of the biggest sporting events in America really look like, and get a chance to get some hands-on experience there and actually making them run as well. And of course, it provides a number of networking opportunities through the Sport Management Student Association as well. While they travel to those major sporting events, they are also taking advantage of the local sports scene and meeting with professionals and major organizations there in the area. Okay, big question we always get is, what about graduate assistantships and funding? Typically, when people ask me about graduate assistantships, they're talking about two different things, and I want to make sure that we specify which is which. When we in the department talk about graduate assistantships, we are talking about our department teaching assistantships. These are exactly what they sound like. They are teaching assistantships. You will be teaching for us, and you'll be teaching through our lifetime activity program. The lifetime activity program, if you're not familiar with that, are undergraduate electives in a variety of activity type courses. They're everything from specific sports like volleyball and soccer and tennis to sport related activities like weight training, stretch and relaxation, aerobic conditioning. We have an esports class and a fencing class and a martial arts class that we offer. So it's a wide variety of courses. We need a lot of students to teach those. So in addition, in return for teaching typically 2 or 3 sections of those courses, you'll receive a 12 credit hour tuition waiver. The department teaching assistantships are the only assistantships that come with a tuition waiver. So when you're thinking about getting your tuition waived, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for our assistantship there. We offer most of these in the fall, and typically we're able to offer anywhere from about 15 to 20 new assistantships in the fall. It depends on enrollment. It depends on the courses that we're able to offer. Right now, we're actually a little bit below that because of the limits that we've had placed on us with social distancing requirements. Some of those courses we're not able to offer this year. But our hope is that by next fall, we'll be back to normal. And so we'll have a full class of assistants rather, starting in the fall. We are sometimes able to make additional offers in the spring. So if you're graduating this semester and starting in the spring, I do still encourage you to apply for those. Sometimes it's, if we have an opening, if we have increased enrollment, or if somebody leaves a position, then we're able to make a new offer for spring. There is a separate assistantship application. It can be found through our website. If you've applied to the program and been admitted and we don't have that, I will reach out to you and let you know that we need that assistantship application if you're interested in being considered. So you won't miss it, but it is something that you can fill out anytime. You can even fill it out and submit it along with your application if you want to. It is simply an application that asks about your background in sport, what kinds of sport activities you participated in, what you may have coached or taught in the past, and any special certifications that you have that will help us align you with courses that you're going to be good for teaching for us. The other way a lot of our students will fund their education here is GA positions through athletics. These are sometimes paid, sometimes strictly volunteer positions. It is important to note that we, as the Sport Management Department, actually have nothing to do with their decisions. This is a completely separate process, and they are a completely separate area from us. Typically, in order to be considered for one of the athletics GA positions, you do need to be admitted to a graduate program here, and so that's where we come in. But aside from that, they have their own process. They have their own hiring process and deadlines. It's important to make sure that you're keeping up with that. The nice thing is if you do get one of these positions, depending on the nature of the job, the number of hours that you're working for them, you may be able to count it for course credit for your program here. So you can be doing a job here on campus and also getting course credit for it. Also important to note, you can actually accept both a department TA position and an athletics GA position, as long as you're able to commit the hours that are required for both. And that's going to be a lot of work, but we've had students do it in the past. Again, the department TA position is the one that's going to include the department or the tuition waiver. If you get a GA position, it is a paid position, it's most likely to be in some kind of a form of a cash scholarship. So again, you can receive both. If you are pursuing both, it is a good idea to sort of let us know, especially if you are offered one of our TA positions, that you're also pursuing a GA position, just so we can keep that in mind. But it does not preclude you from accepting ours as well. If you are interested in pursuing these, our recommendation is to contact the athletic department or area that you're interested in working with directly. Find out about what positions they may have. what their particular process looks like. There is a very helpful staff directory on the athletics website. That's seminoles.com/staff directory right there, where you just go to seminoles.com and it's in the drop-down menu there. That's a good way to figure out, okay, I don't know who to talk to. I don't know where to make the first step here, but I know I want to work with the marketing department, or I know I want to work with compliance or something like that. You can actually find the people there to contact. My recommendation is always to start with either a front office number in that area or sport, or their director of operations for that particular area. And they're used to getting calls from prospective graduate students, so it's never too early to begin that process, even if you're looking at next fall, to give them a call and say, what do you have opening up, and how do I make sure that I'm in the running? Before we open it up for question and answer, I do want to, let me go ahead and turn my camera back on. I do want to go back and talk about the application process itself, because I realized I forgot to include a slide about that. It's a very simple process. If you are applying between now and fall 2021, we have waived the GRE requirement, so that is not required. If you are applying for spring 2022 or beyond, we don't have a decision about that yet, but I do expect that we probably will reinstate the GRE requirement. So if you're looking at spring 2022 or beyond, probably the next step for you is to go ahead and take the GRE as soon as you feel like you're ready to take it. We post the department standards on our website, but as a general rule of thumb, we're looking for subscores of 150 or higher. So if you take the GRE and you get 150, you're seeing scores of 150 or higher, you know you're in good shape. If you take the GRE and your scores are lower than that, you may consider retesting, or you may simply consider applying anyway. Let us make the decision based on the overall strength of your application. And then we'll let you know if we feel like it's a good idea for you to retest and possibly raise those scores in order to improve your chances for admission. So the GRE is the thing, again, if you're looking at spring 22 or beyond, it's kind of the next thing you want to start thinking about. If you're looking at spring 2021 through fall 2021, you can apply right now. That application is open. Spring applications are open through November 1st, so you've got a few more days to take care of that if you're looking at spring. We do not require the GRE, although if you've taken it, we do welcome your scores. We will consider anything that you send us. We require the online application, a resume, a statement of purpose, 3 letters of recommendation. We request that at least 2 of those letters of recommendation be from academic sources. So professors or instructors, somebody who knows you in an academic setting. And your transcript. Now, if you are an FSU student, you don't need to worry about your official transcripts. We will automatically attach those to your application. It may take a few days. So after you've submitted your application, just keep an eye on your checklist and you'll see when those finally do get checked off. But it's a very straightforward process. You should be able to complete the application in just a matter of a few days. And we will typically turn a decision around to you within about 2 or 3 weeks. So we do rolling admissions. The earlier you apply, the earlier you'll get a decision from us. We admit to all 3 semesters, so spring, summer, or fall. It doesn't really matter which semester you apply to. Our courses at the master's level, at least, are not sequential, which means you can jump in at any time, take the courses in any order you want, and you'll be just fine. I will say, if you are interested in, particularly if you're applying for summer or fall, and you're interested in an assistantship with a department teaching assistantship beginning in the fall, you should try to apply as early as possible, especially by about March 1st, because we typically start those offers around the beginning of April. So the earlier you apply for that, the more likely it is that you'll be in that initial group for consideration. We do sometimes continue to make offers, assistantship offers throughout the summer as we have a need for additional assistance. But your best bet is going to be to apply early and be in that first group. I think that's most of what I had to cover. So we'll go ahead and open it up for questions and answers, unless I see Dr. James is with us now. Good morning, Dr. James. If you or Dr. Newman have anything you'd like to add, please go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. I want to thank everybody who was able to participate this morning or to join in. I had to come in a little bit late. This is actually a teaching day for me, so I was doing some of the work they pay me for the start of this session today. I appreciate Jeff running through all the information, and he did an admirable job. Nothing I would have added or done differently as far as content. 2 points I would emphasize, though. one of the other questions we typically get, or at least I hear it a lot when I talk with students, is why FSU, why your program? What's really substantially different, or what sets you apart from some of the others? And I would acknowledge, and I think a lot of our peers would as well, in terms of just kind of the general content areas, not necessarily a lot of differences. Our field, we have some very standards we all tend to look to and offer some of the same type of content. Of course, one of the big differences is the people. And I would certainly stack our group of faculty and instructors against any program. We've been ranked highly in the nation for good reasons, and it's the people that are here, and it's a fantastic university. I've been here almost 20 years myself. I'm not leaving anywhere anytime soon unless the dean gets tired of me. And so it's a wonderful place to be. The other thing I would emphasize for our program as well is the experiential aspect of it. And Jeff did a great job pointing out the internship opportunities, literally from Tallahassee to around the country. And occasionally we have someone go outside the US. That's certainly a possibility. It's a bit more challenging. Certainly in this current environment, it would be a tough one. But that's an option. And that's one of the things we encourage people is to look for opportunities to gain experience in an industry that's very competitive. It's no longer looking for, oh, that internship is going to be where you get a lot of experience. Now, even with internships now, that's the first question that are being asked of applicants. What have you already done? You know, what experience do you already have? And so we've certainly incorporated that as part of our service learning capacity in our program. We're trying to provide experiences that are sport-based, but also encouraging you, before you even get to the practicum or the internship stage, you can do other experiences really in any semester. They would be shorter term duration, but it's building those skills, but it's also figuring out kind of where you want to be, because it's a big industry. And I appreciate, again, that slide that talked about the careers and the different types of opportunities. Literally everything from professional sports all the way down to your local level, anything that is involved in sport. I tend to think of our industry in three different ways. It's either people participating in sports, people watching sports, or in the third category, everything that's needed to make those first two possible. And that third category covers a lot of space, whether it's, again, professional sports, amateur, collegiate, recreational, whether it's industry-based in terms of apparel, equipment, provision of media services. There's so many opportunities. That's one of the things we will try to do, is help you see the breadth of this industry and figure out where some opportunities may lie for you. And again, as Jeff mentioned, Dr. Pappas is our president and provides a lot of great networking, connecting opportunities for folks. And so, again, love to answer any questions you might have for us. So feel free to offer those up. Any of the three of us will do our best to try to provide information if we've got it.